What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 42 of Hit the Books. On this week's episode, we have concluded the NBA and the NHL Finals, so we have a huge recap in the finals in both those leagues coming up. Now it's time to fully focus on the MLB and the upcoming NFL season with our weekly MLB Power Rankings and lots more to cover this week on Hit the Books. So let's move into this week's episode and introduce my co-hosts that join me each and every week, Huff, Ace, and Mackie. Mackie, let's start off with you this week, buddy. What's going on? How's it going?
Yeah, feeling good. Obviously, we saw the NBA and NHL finals come to a close this week, so we're rolling with baseball for the next 2 months. Couldn't be more excited, I guess. But yeah, we saw those final series end, and we got a lot to say about those, obviously. So yeah, that's about it.
Looking forward to hearing more from you this week, Mackie. Ace, let's shoot it over to you next. What do you got for us, buddy?
Yeah, like Mackie said, obviously it's a tough time when the NBA and NHL both come to a close, and so abruptly too. Was hoping for some more life out of those series, but I'm ready to talk some baseball and get into that as well, and some NFL preseason chatter as well. So been cooking on the cards last few weeks, ready to get rolling, talk some more sports.
Let's do it. Huff, let's finish it off with you before we jump into this episode. What do you got for us?
Not much coming from me. Good week last week on the card. Like Ace said, the DraftKings prize pool came to an end. We announced our winner on social media. I believe we did it today, and DraftKings sent out all the winnings. So shout out to everyone that hit on that. We had a good amount of winners. The way it got split up with a couple of the ties. So it was good to see that. Like you said, the NHL and NBA come to an end. Denver clinches that series in 5, and Vegas as well in 5. So 2 short final series, but we'll get into those in a little bit. Not much else coming from me, though. Pretty good week.
Alrighty, let's start off this week's episode with the NHL. The Florida Panthers took Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Matthew Tkachuk scored the tie of the game late with the goalie pulled to force overtime, where the Panthers would become 8-0 in overtimes during these playoffs, defeating Vegas by a score of 3-2. Vegas led the series 2-1 then. In Game 4 in Sunrise, Florida, the Golden Knights took Game 4 in Sunrise, Florida by a score of 3-2. Vegas was able to fight off a late push by the Panthers to secure a commanding 3-1 series lead, heading back to Vegas for Game 5 on Tuesday. The end of the game erupted after the Panthers were just inches away from tying the game. Fans throwing stuff on the ice, players all over the place. So a bunch of junk going on at the end of that game. Going into Game 5, the Vegas Golden Knights defeated the Panthers by a score of 9-3, an absolute just blowout to win the series by a score of 4-1. And with that, the Vegas Golden Knights are your Stanley Cup champions. Jonathan Marchessault was crowned with the Conn Smythe Trophy for the most valuable player during the playoffs. Tons to unpack here in this finals in the NHL. Stanley Cup awarded to the Vegas Golden Knights. Who wants to start us off?
I'll start us off here because I was the one that was on them. I picked them in this series. I did say it was going to go 6 games, but when it was coming back to Vegas 3-1, Florida didn't look like they had much life left in them. Tkachuk didn't play in Game 5. We failed to mention that in that note, but Vegas was the better team throughout most of the series, and the one that they lost in the overtime game when Florida fought back, you knew that they were going to win that game when it went to overtime. They've had their way in overtime all throughout these playoffs. Jesse said it, they're 8-0, but Vegas, Aiden Hill stood on his head at times in this series. When they were at home, I mean, it was 7-2, 5-2, 7-2, 9-3. They were just dominant on their home ice in this series, and where they were able to steal one on the road, and that's all you got to do. And they were able to wrap this up in 5 games. I was excited, or I was glad to see Eichel have a solid series, just all over the ice. He didn't necessarily have the points that you'd expect a guy like him to have, but a great two-way player. He definitely solidified himself as one of the greats in the NHL. I think very underrated in my opinion, but I think this gets him on the list for easily one of the best players up there, one of the most underrated in my opinion. But Mackie, I'll hand things off over to you. You guys were on Florida, but I think you knew what you were dealing with this Vegas team.
Yeah, definitely. I learned pretty quick. All playoffs, I just thought the cup was coming out of the East. Because the East was just so much better the entire season. But Vegas was good all season. I think they had 107 or 109 points in the regular season, which is no joke, obviously. They rolled in the regular season, but they didn't have that extra click to them, I don't think. And this team definitely just connected at the right time. They clicked at the right time. The chemistry came, everything came together. Aiden Hill, X factor of the entire thing, I would say. Without him, you're definitely not winning a cup. I don't care how dominant you are, but stood on his head 3 straight series. Played really good hockey. This is what you need: a good goaltender, a hot goaltender. So everything just clicked at the right time for them. They all got hot at the right time. Nobody was standing in front of that team, not even a team like the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, and like Aiden Hill, you're not wrong. I'm surprised by the way he played this whole run, honestly, stepping in there as like the 4th goalie in my mind for the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know about you guys, but he really slammed the door shut and came up with some highlight reel saves that I didn't expect him to see. Were the zeros there this series? No, but he didn't need them because of how good that offense was, how good that team was in front of him. Huff, what do you got about that?
The thing I saw about Aiden Hill today was, or last night during the game, I think he was 10-4. I forget what his ending record was. I can't remember if they were showing the stat during the game or after the game, but he's the first goalie in NHL history to win that many games in that short amount of games, and not play a game in the first round.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, we talked about that series
Obviously,
too.
that's kind of confusing the way I said it, but he was like something like he's 10-4 and he didn't play in the first round. He's the first goalie to ever have that many wins in 14 games or 15 games or something like that.
Yeah, it was 11-4 off quickest to do.
So it was during the game, and last night counted as the 11th win.
Right.
I don't know, but Jack Eichel himself, with Marchessault playing the way he did, it's hard not to give him the Conn Smythe, especially over 4 straight playoff series, because Eichel was kind of, I wouldn't say invisible the first 2 rounds, but he wasn't who he should have been. But those last 2 series, especially that last one right there, Eichel was really turning it up a notch, and he was showing everyone what all the hype was really about with him being a 2nd overall pick, being right behind McDavid his entire life. Well, he just proved that he can get a cup before him, and that's big. Getting a cup in the NHL is huge. It's definitely not the easiest thing to do. You can't do it alone. So, being a huge role.
I was so glad for how things worked out for him. Get out of Buffalo. He didn't like the situation he was in there. They didn't treat him good. They weren't letting him get the surgery he wanted to get. He was able to find a team that he wanted to go to, and they wanted him. It was a mutual kind of thing. They wanted to move forward, and Vegas was supportive with him to go get that surgery that he wanted, because it wasn't like something that was super common. It was like a neck or a back surgery. I don't really remember, but he was on McAfee telling McAfee about the surgery and stuff. But I mean, to go from, you absolutely hate the situation that you're in, and like you said, you're just compared to McDavid because you're number 2 behind him, and McDavid's setting all these records and doing these things, and Eichel's been on the IR for all these years and comes in for a year's first full season with Vegas and gets the job done. And like you said, in a role where he might not have had the most points, and he might not have, had the most goals and been the guy lighting the lamp in the final series where everyone has the lights are the brightest and everyone's watching. But I mean, the season that he had, like you said, and the playoffs that he had, I was really happy to see that. I wanted to see him get the Conn Smythe that cap it all off, but like you said, Marchessault had a hell of a playoffs as well. It could have went to Stone, Eichel, or Marchessault. I mean, I just think all 3 of them are so good, and that just shows you the depth that they had. It wasn't really one guy; it was 3 guys, and then it was the rest of their depth players.
Everything else.
That's the reason they got it done. Yeah.
Yeah, if you gave it to Stone, I'd say that's kind of biased to the last game, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, an incredible playoffs, but I think it was more between Eichel, Marchessault, and Aiden Hill. But in games like that, when you're winning 7-2, 5-2, 9-3, it's hard to give it to the goalie when the offense is just absolutely rolling like that.
The goalie could let up 6, 7, and he still won.
And he didn't play in the first round. So,
exactly.
It's tough to give it to Aiden Hill in that situation, but I'll tell you what.
He didn't play in a series that they won in 5 games. You know what I mean? Like, they dominated without him.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you what, Eichel gave up a fight for that Conn Smythe towards the end of that series, towards the end of this playoff run. He definitely turned it up a notch and showed what he can do. I really like Eichel.
What he did on the first goal last night, I thought that was a frozen puck. I mean, most guys, like every hockey coach says, play till the whistle. It's literally under Bobrovsky. He just pokes at it, comes right out, bang, back of the net. I think it was Haig that put it in.
Dude, they just wanted it so bad. I've never seen a team buzz like that, turn it up a notch like that in the playoffs.
Could you imagine winning a Stanley Cup at home in Vegas? Like, you don't even need to go to Vegas. You're already fucking there.
The only thing about it though is that like all those fans, I feel like they're not passionate. Like they're fake fans, dude. Like they're not passionate fans.
They're
there
them.
for the they're all like, come on. Like it's not like winning a cup in Pittsburgh or even New York. I can't even imagine what it would be like being in the Garden for a Stanley Cup. But I mean, obviously it's dope. They're going crazy and shit. But you just see people in the stands. Just,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Just kind of clapping, like, "Yay, we won!" Like, no, like that's crazy.
They don't understand. It's like they've been so good. Last year was the first. I mean, they missed the playoffs last year, but like they've been so good in their existence. Like they don't understand what it's like to be bad for 6-7 years in a row. Or like, I mean, our teams, even Aces, like the Bruins, like Bruins, Penguins, Rangers, we've all been relevant for our entire lifetime. Like we really don't know what it's like to be truly like bad. I'm not like. We're all kind of getting to that point where at least me and Ace are, where our teams are kind of aging out, and we're gonna have to start to figure this out, or we're gonna have to start to accept that, you know, like these teams, like they change fast, and like you said with Vegas, like they haven't really had to deal with like the suffering, or like they've had some bad playoff losses, like they lost to the Caps in their first year in the Cup in 5 games. I guess that wasn't their best performance, but like no one expected them to win a Cup. I mean, we heard their owner say, make the playoffs by year 3 and win a Cup by year 6, and lost in the Cup year 1 and won a Cup in year 6. So
yeah, 6 years into their organization, they've been to 3 conference finals. So that's about
two Cup finals.
Yeah, 2 Cup finals, a Cup, and 3 conference finals.
They go to the Cup final. They go to the Cup final 1 out of every 3 years, basically.
Yeah.
2 out of 6. They've been there.
It's pretty. You know, bring a team to Vegas. Looks good.
It is cool that all these teams are going to Vegas. It's them winning just shows like the MLB with Oakland and like the Raiders, them moving there. Like, oh, this can be a sports town. Like obviously, like Mackie said, like you said about the fans, and like they're not really real fans, but like because they haven't had a team. But like I don't know, those could all be people that were like rooting for LA teams, or like, you know what I mean, all these random teams because they never had a team. But I don't know. Obviously, hockey's different. I don't think hockey was very big in Las Vegas until they got there and were like we said, had the success that they had. But I don't know. Ace, was there anything else you wanted to add on about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw one shirt that really caught the tune of that whole Vegas crowd, and it was like, the team I didn't know I needed, or something like that.
Something like the team I didn't know I needed.
The sport I didn't know I needed, and the team I didn't know I needed to love, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and it was like spot on. And I think that those Vegas fans, they really bought into the hype. How can you not when your team's electric like that year in and year out?
The success helped.
Yeah, the management really just bringing in marquee players too, like left and right, making changes. You don't see that in competitive rosters. You don't see that turnover that like they have. They were letting guys like Pacioretty go. Those are like great players, and they built the team they knew they needed, and Bruce Cassidy fell right into their laps. Perfect spot for him, and you could see it was electric there. Always put on a show. That's probably my favorite reason to watch the Knights. Honestly, I should have just really been more realistic than optimistic and known that these Vegas Golden Knights were a better team. But I bought into the hype that Mackie was alluding to earlier, that the East was a gauntlet. But I should have seen that it's the fraudulent Leafs, the Eastern Conference Finals Hurricanes, who don't know how to win when they get there. And, I mean, tough break with Tkachuk going down, especially playing that. You guys saw Game 4 with the injury as well. Like, that's crazy. I mean, that was the game they needed to grab, Game 4, to even that series up. And if he's playing at anything less than even 75%, then that's a tough scene, because he's the heart and soul of those Florida Panthers. And the Vegas Golden Knights broke him down. Credit to them. All the credit in the world. Credit to Huff for picking that. Ever since he's been to Vegas, it's been raining championships there now. So maybe you need to take a trip back for the Raiders or something, and we can cash a ticket.
Yeah, that I don't know. I was literally when I went there, I was like, I don't have a team. I'm just riding them, and I wish I would have fucking took a Cup future. That would have been great, but I'll take the conference finals. That was good. That was fun. 13-1. They were 14-1. Oh, that'd be great.
And they steamrolled through this place. I know some of the series got a little bit tight along the way, but like, were they ever really in doubt of losing a series? Not too often.
They weren't up against elimination until Game 7 in the conference finals.
Yeah, in the Western Conference Finals. That was Game 6, I thought.
That's 6. Yeah, they won in 6.
They were never up against elimination. Did they go 7?
Yeah, you're right. They were never. Yeah, you're right. Didn't they go 7 with Dallas?
6 Oilers, 6 Stars, 5 Winnipeg, and 5.
Yeah, they were never up against elimination. I remember telling Jesse that whenever we cashed that bet. I was like, they literally were never up against elimination.
Yeah, and you got to love that on your side. Just playing great hockey and never really trailing in games either. That was the other thing. The outliers in series was always when they would blow somebody else out. If they were losing, it was a close match either way. And those goaltenders...
They didn't lose too many games these playoffs, like he said. Jets in 5. That one game they had to lose to the Jets was when I just so happened to fucking nuke them. And then the rest of the series, I mean, they just dominate them, and I kind of avoided them because I was pissed. But yeah, I don't know, it's tough.
Dude,
but
after that game, I actually remember I was like, yeah, I think Winnipeg wins the series.
Yeah, I remember coming on here and I was like, Mackie wants to say Winnipeg's gonna win the series.
Oh, I overreacted to the max. I'll call myself out on that one. I was like, yeah, dude, this team is just they're just not bought in. And then they turn around and gentlemen sweep Oilers in 6, Stars in 6, and they wipe the floor at the Panthers. Shut me up real quick.
And never had a 7-game series. It's crazy.
Do you think the Panthers were shocked that they got stunned like that, or do you think that was like they won their Stanley Cup by getting there?
I think the time off really did not help them at all. I think
rest versus rust. Did it hurt or did it help? Mackie thinks it didn't help.
I think it killed Bobrovsky, to be honest, and he's been the difference maker in the series. I mean, he had 157 saves in that 4-game sweep. That's almost 39 saves a game, which is pretty ridiculous. And then you don't play in a game for 2 weeks, and it happens. You lose your mojo.
Yeah, and a lot of guys that are getting first time rings on that side. That's something that can never be taken away from, as we saw Bruce Cassidy say. So you gotta love to see that. Guys like very deserving of it. Eichel, that's hype to see. I mean, he's the man. But you got guys throughout that lineup: Carlson, Marchessault, Stone, Pietrangelo grabs another one. A lot of these big... Jonathan Quick adds another Stanley Cup to his resume. That's kind of nuts.
Can we talk about Jonathan Quick lifting the cup before Aiden Hill and... Was it Marchessault? He literally touched the cup before the Conn Smythe winner.
Yeah, that's respect to the vet, though.
Oh, no. It wasn't Marchessault. Who was it? I'll figure out who it was. But Quick was like... They're passing the cup around. I'm laying in bed watching them pass the cup around, and like... Next thing I know, Jonathan Quick's like the 6th person. He was like right after the original group to all lift it. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, Jonathan Quick's been there for like 9 months.
It's not like he doesn't have a cup either. Like you're a vet. Cool. You already have a cup. You've already done this.
Yeah, you've done this 2 times, dude.
Yeah, they definitely looked to him in the locker room though, and
he got
looked for his
Quick
advice
lifted
and
the cup
his
before
leadership.
Eichel and Aiden Hill.
Before Aiden Hill is pretty crazy. I think Aiden Hill should be like 2nd. Give it to Mark Stone.
But not even though,
they let the original, as soon as Stone lifted it, he's the captain. Stone did his thing, and he handed it off to every player that has been there since the team was expansion.
Carlson,
Marchessault, Riley Smith was 2nd.
Riley Smith, what a dog.
Braden McNabb.
Yeah.
Alec Martinez.
Nah, he's been there since 2017.
Makes sense, because the last time he scored a relevant Stanley Cup goal was the game winner over the Rangers.
Killed your Rangers, Mackie.
Fuck you
wasn't
guys.
Wasn't it year to the day that he put it in the back of the net the other night as well? I think I saw that online somewhere.
I think it was June 13th. That was yesterday. I don't know.
That was one of the best.
He talked last night. That's sick.
History. He did talk last night. What'd you say, Huff?
That was one of the best goal calls in NHL history. That's so hype. The LA Kings
double
goal
overtime.
Instant gloves off. Instant.
Yeah, it's just
Lundqvist probably had like 55 saves against like Quick's 17.
Frame that picture of Lundqvist laying on the ice, put it in the Louvre.
That series was like equivalent to this series, except Lundqvist stood on his head and made every game a game.
Except there's more relevant. I mean, literally, this series, they mopped the floor with them. 9-3 in the decisive Stanley Cup game. You just don't see stuff like that.
Not gonna
That's
lie,
a bad Thursday night football game.
It's a terrible last game to the NHL season too. Nobody wants to see a 9-3 Stanley Cup win. What?
No, was it 4-0 before the? Or no, it was 2-1. But that was
2-1,
5-1
2-1, and then they scored. So they scored the first 2 in a minute and a
6-1
half.
at the end of the second.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying.
3 and 4 in a minute and a half. In a minute and a half as well.
They were partying in the locker room in the second intermission.
Yeah, they already had the champagne ready.
That's crazy.
They,
I mean,
they let up
imagine
two quick ones, and you could tell they got scared. They were like, "All right, guys, we got to score 2 fucking goals, and then we literally have it. We can't blow this."
What do you think the morale is of the locker room, though, when Matthew Tkachuk isn't dressed for the game? You see him in street clothes before this Game 5 in Vegas, where you've gotten pumped already.
Panthers were dead. They were dead from the start of that game. I don't think they really had anything going. They came out a little quick. I'd say the first 2-3 minutes they were buzzing a little, but the second it was 1-0. 5.5 minutes in, it was kind of just like the air was taken out of everything out of them, and they popped another one 2-0. And you're sitting on away ice in Vegas, nonetheless, and it's 2-0 already, and this team's been dominating you as it is. I just think the confidence was not there for them. I think they knew it was pretty much over.
Just an electric team, this Vegas Golden Knights. Seriously, their first franchise Stanley Cup. Lots of stuff to look forward to for them as a franchise. Just hammering teams every year. Good stuff there, boys. One more point out of the NHL. The NHL legend Wayne Gretzky's final game-worn Rangers jersey from 1999 just sold for a nice $596,000 at auction. Bidding for that started at $50,000. So just crazy how much memorabilia is going for these days and stuff like that. So pretty interesting there.
Here's something for you, Ace, Mackie, Jesse. What's the jersey signed? Any athlete game worn like that, like maybe last game or like something specific that you would want, and like you'd pay anything for it if you had all the money in the world?
Not personally, but
I'll start. I'd either want Kobe's 81 point game jersey or the finals one when he ripped it like this, and I'd hope it's like fucking stretched the fuck out. I'd be like, that's cool as shit.
Oh, that's pretty.
But I'd want both of them signed. Like,
you're saying worth the most?
Yeah, what is worth the most to you? Like, what would you want? Like, mine would definitely be those 2 Kobe ones. Like, I wouldn't be able to pick. I'd be like, I'll take either the 81 point or the ring.
I know mine off the rip. It would definitely be Tom Brady's 28-3 Super Bowl comeback jersey.
Yeah, I was gonna say yours is definitely a Brady.
Yeah, that's probably the greatest comeback of all time. Not my favorite Patriots Super Bowl, but I mean that's cemented GOAT status for anybody that already didn't know.
I have so much fucking Crosby shit. I was gonna say some Crosby stuff. I have fucking 14 City Crosby jerseys.
The Crosby Winter Classic game winner.
That's exactly what I was thinking of, Ace. That was my go-to, honestly.
Ace, look at this picture right here, right above my desk.
Yeah, those jerseys are so tough too.
Who's that against?
The Sabres, Ryan Miller. You were saying it. I was literally about to be that picture right there. That's the best picture.
Which is crazy because he has Stanley Cup and like golden goals. He has all of this, but like that's such an iconic moment.
The Canada golden goal.
I was gonna say the Canada golden goal. If I was a Canadian, like from Canada, yeah, that has to be a must-have.
Yeah, of him looking like he's fucking tickling his balls when he's celebrating.
Yo, honorable mention, a crazy one would be the Barry Bonds game-worn jersey from when he broke the record, because like that's just sick. Like Barry Bonds is hated on, but like. That's a different one. Nah, imagine having that.
Yeah, he's a dog.
LeBron's final game, whenever that is.
Blocked by James. That one.
LeBron's jersey from the 2016.
Something you got to tell a good story with. Whatever it is has to have a good story with it when people look at it.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. How cool would the one be like, that's the jersey that Kobe went like this with.
I was going to say, if you had a LeBron James jersey mounted on your wall of the 2016 finals, that's like ultimate. You can just brag about that to anyone. Like that's the most. That's
like I have signed jerseys, but none of them are like game worn. You know what I mean?
There's probably no like sentimental value behind it either.
Well, the Crosby one I got signed, and then my Cam Hayward one I won. Like I didn't meet Cam Hayward, but. Like I have James Harrison, like I have Letang. I met Letang. Most of the ones I have, I met, but actually, like I remember meeting them and getting them signed. But the Hayward one, I haven't. I won that. Yeah, the game worn, that'd be tough though.
Good stuff there, guys. Let's shift our focus over to the NBA. The Denver Nuggets come into South Beach and take both games from the Miami Heat as the series shifts back to Denver with Game 5 as the Nuggets have a commanding 3-1 series lead. Denver then defeated the Heat in Game 5 of the finals to win the series 4-1 and clinch the franchise's first NBA title. Nikola Jokic was named the NBA Finals MVP. So lots of good stuff there for the Denver Nuggets. What do you guys think? What do we think about this final series just going off?
The only thing I wanted to say is that I was really excited for this finals before it started, and I thought it was going to be a really good 6 or 7 game fight. But Miami just didn't play up to par to what Denver was bringing, and they just didn't put up the fight. I think the role players that were stepping up in the first 3 rounds just weren't there. Caleb Martin kind of invisible. Even like Gabe Vincent had that one good game. That's about it. Max Strus didn't really step up. None of the role players that got them to where they were, and with Jimmy being a little injured as well, they just didn't do enough. Bam obviously getting babied down low by Jokic. Not much you can do about that, but the role players got to step up in games like those. And that's why it was a pretty much cakewalk 4-1 series win.
Can I just say one thing? This is like a radio off the rip tape, but can we just say it now that this series over? These Florida teams stink. Like, they had good runs and they were playing well and they were playing team games, but it's 2023. You need some superstars to win. You need a lot of them actually to win. You can have a few superstars and be good, but you need a really good team to win. And the Vegas Golden Knights did it to the Florida Panthers, and the Denver Nuggets did it to the Miami Heat. I mean, when you look at these two teams on paper, we're in the regular season here. We're taking them in a parlay because the spread's too high on the money line every time. It's just crazy to me that they had great runs to get there, but they just all flopped so hard in the finals. I mean, not taking anything away from the Nuggets because they did this to the Lakers as well, but these Miami and Florida teams, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I wasn't buying the hype with these Florida teams in the final. I couldn't go against those Denver Nuggets. I had them to get there, and I went with them in 5 games. I called this series pretty much to a T. I think I said they were going to get out to a 2-0 series lead, but obviously it was 1-1. It kind of went backwards the first 4 games, but Denver did come back with a 3-1 lead, clinch that thing in 5 games. Jokic, obviously, we know the kind of series he had, the Finals MVP. Jamal Murray, hell of a series. Aaron Gordon came out of nowhere and had a hell of a series for them and the role players, their whole bench. Bruce Brown. Yeah, I was going to say Bruce Brown had a hell of a game in Game 5, hitting
Brown,
huge
too.
shots. Yeah, I was going to say, and then I was going to say bench players like Christian Brown, too. So, a guy that just wins. I saw the 3 high school national championships he wins last year at Kansas. Now he wins a ring with Denver this year. So, it's all that dude does is win. So, and then obviously the infamous quote from Jokic about the parade, him pissed that he can't go home because he wants to go home to his horses, but they have a parade. I believe the parade's tomorrow, so expecting some funny Nikola Jokic social media content tomorrow of him on a bus, or maybe imagine they bring him out on a horse through downtown Denver. Dude, there's gonna be
have to bring him out in like a horse and stable, like a horse stable thing, you know? Like
they should
They probably gave the idea, but I don't think he'd probably not be down for that. That'd be pretty cool, though.
Yeah. They should bring him out on like a white horse.
He'd be like, this is disrespectful.
Huff, going back to that, what you were talking about, though, you predicted that 2-0 series lead, and that was something that I thought was going to happen as well. And it was 1-1. Remember how many people bought into the hype? Like, the lines tightened, the Bucks even bought into it. People thought that the Miami Heat could turn this into a series when they flipped home court advantage. They literally had it, and they went 0-3 in those next 3 games. I mean, we should have just seen that more as the Heat stealing one in Denver instead of just actually giving it a series.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Denver was just way better, to be honest.
I was going to say, people were just, they didn't want to believe how good they were, I think.
The role players were that good. I mean, everyone's stepping up, and then you have the best player in the world, the most dominant player in the world, just quarterbacking the entire thing. You're not stopping that. Not with Miami's role players, with their undrafted players, all that they have. Jimmy Butler being injured. Bam obviously not being able to do whatever he can because he has Jokic on him. It's just the mismatches were just crazy this series. Denver was just way better, way overpowering. Yeah,
it was good.
I bought it. I bought into Miami too. I can't say I didn't, but the last 2 games, I was like, I'm done losing money on this team. I can't do it.
Yeah, the value is definitely there, especially in the finals. You expect a lot more. But it was nice to see guys like Jamal Murray. You saw him celebrating with the owner and whatnot, and he was thanking him for letting him stay for that long. I mean, this Denver Nuggets team's been loading. They've been built the same, but the injuries have crippled their runs in previous years. And
the bubble, he tore his ACL, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he was out a year, out a whole year.
Porter Jr. missed some time as well, right? So they never really
in the league hurt.
Yeah, they never really had that true team like they had right here to match up with them. But it was nice to see. It was nice to see Jimmy Butler at least keep that game close. I mean, I thought the NBA was rigged for a hot second. I'm sure you guys did too. On that 3-pointer was called a foul.
Dude, come on, bro. They wanted that exterior extended so bad. Some of those calls were just terrible. But Michael Porter Jr. at one point just threw his hands up in the air. Like, what are you even looking at? They're just trying to get Jimmy to the free throw line, let him hit his free throws, his free points. After games like that, I swear to God, there's not a doubt in my mind that there's something going on. Like,
you know what's crazy though is the fact that Jimmy Butler was getting those calls all night, right? And then game on the line, not the last possession, the second to last one before Bruce Brown hit the put away free throws. Jimmy Butler had the ball down a point, drives into the paint, and it looks like he's just going to go up and get fouled and go to the line for 2, right, to take the lead. Instead, he stops and then kicks it out and turns it over.
He loves doing that, stopping, kicking it out, and he just forced it because he knew the clock was going down and he wanted the 2 for 1.
Get to the line. Get to the line.
But he didn't want to put it up because he wasn't getting a foul call at that point. When you're stationary,
he was getting them. No, I'm saying don't stop though. He should have just kept going. With the way he was getting them on the previous possessions, like they were giving him whatever he wanted just to keep the series alive, and you literally handed the trophy off. Jimmy Butler, best assist of the season. Here's the trophy. Denver Nuggets, have fun. But yeah, what a team.
If anything, they were just delaying the inevitable. I think Denver was winning regardless. But yeah, that was just not a Jimmy Butler play, not a Jimmy Butler playoffs play, I should say.
Yeah, I mean they kind of fell flat on their face as well. One nice thing that was helping me out throughout the series, though, that was covering that value was hitting that Bam Adebayo first back. I think it hit 3 of 5 games.
He did. He was going off on those.
Yeah, I got on too late. I took in the last 3, but or last 4 or something like that. But the value, I think it was only like plus 400 in the last one.
I took him in game 4 when he was 650, but I took it with the money line, so it didn't hit.
Yep, I remember that parlay you had.
Yeah, it was like $20. That was crazy, but the Jimmy 30 points. Of course, he gets 28 and misses like 6 free throws. I'm like, of course.
And then we get another finals trophy going to the West now with Denver taking over another Florida team like the Panthers and Heat both going down. I mean, the powerhouses, they had a great run here, the Nuggets. They swept the Lakers and LeBron James, let's not forget that, in the conference finals before taking care of the Heat. Who else did they beat on this run?
Suns.
The Suns, a good Suns team too.
Nuggets went through the Timberwolves, the Suns, and then
the Timberwolves for the first round.
Yeah, that's a good run though. Those are good teams they had to go through. I mean, no slouches, especially the Suns. That was a lot of people's pick to win it this year.
Not seed wise, because it was like they beat an 8, 4, 7, 8.
You're not wrong.
But like you're looking at LeBron and the Lakers, a Miami Heat team that's been there 3 times in the last 4 years, and the Suns, who obviously we know who the Suns are.
Kevin Durant, Ja Morant, LeBron James, Jimmy Butler.
They're just naming players.
I thought he was too.
But that's his run. That's who he beat on the run.
He didn't beat Memphis.
Yeah, he didn't play Memphis.
I thought you said they beat him in the first round.
Minnesota.
Oh, right.
Cat.
Oof. Even
Ant.
I mean,
I thought you were just naming players and they all kind of rhyme.
He said Ja Morant. I was like, he's just rhyming now.
He goes Kevin Durant,
Ja Morant,
LeBron
James, Anthony Davis. I mean, Nikola Jokic. Really, the only one he didn't have to knock out was Curry, but he's like Thanos, grabbing all the stars on his.
That is a good
fist. Jimmy Butler's the last one.
With his horses.
But yeah, no, I expect him to be in the
last one.
How much more in the conversation are they going to be like year in and year out? I saw a rating. Someone had them second to win the finals next year, but I feel like they have to be first. A lot of this team's staying together. Young group.
I saw one that they're first, but it's funny because coming into the playoffs as a 1 seed, they had like 7th or 8th highest odds to win the whole thing. And now that they finally win, now you're gonna make them the highest for next year. Like,
dude, when I locked them in during the first round to win the West, I got plus 375.
That's insane.
They were up like 2-1 on the Timberwolves.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, but them dropping a game to the Timberwolves early probably spooked everyone out, especially because the power that's in the West and like the 4 seed, the 6 seed, 7 seed were the Warriors, Lakers, and Suns. So everyone was scared of the lower seeds this tournament. Meanwhile, the other side, the 8 seed comes out, and in the West, the 1 seed powerhouse Nuggets find a way to get out of that.
Same exact thing in the NHL.
Yeah, it is. Wow,
Western Conference 1 seed versus the Eastern Conference 8 seed.
That is really weird.
Same exact series happened. The 1 seed 1 and 5.
And how many good teams were in the hunt in both Eastern conferences? How many good teams didn't make it there?
And only in the East.
Because that's a glitch.
That is a glitch in the Matrix. This is what makes me think it's not real life. But
yeah, whoever's playing 2K on sim mode, I mean, tough year. I mean, you get the Heat, you go 4-1.
Yeah, they're like meshing this.
They're playing in a real life version of your Madden League, guys.
Yeah, right.
We're all just pawns in this shit.
Too bad we don't know who's controlling the dice, or else we'd be giving it to you all the time. But we got
give me some picks. Damn answers.
Lots of good stuff there. NBA Finals wrapping up. Denver Nuggets are the NBA Finals champions. I have one more point, though, that happened during the finals. The Miami Heat mascot Bernie has been sent to the ER during Game 4 of the finals after Conor McGregor took a skit for a new cooling spray he was promoting a little too far, striking the mascot 2 times and supposedly knocking him out, sending him to the emergency room. Did you guys see that video?
Yeah, you can't take this man, Conor McGregor.
It's so McGregor to do this.
Yeah.
You can't take this man anywhere, man. Just keep him locked in his house. You get domestic abuse charges left and right.
It's literally insane.
I was never a McGregor guy, and as soon as I saw this, I was like, he was exactly the kind of person I could see that did this.
I kind of like him. I'm not gonna lie. I like his persona, I guess. I don't know, but he's just like different, and he doesn't care to get arrested. It's like really weird. But
I don't know. I never hated him, but I never loved him. Like, you know, I feel like he's like a true. Me too, Ace. I always bet against him. I like seeing him lose.
In my opinion, I think he's the reason that MMA is what it is today.
He did bring in a lot of fans. He's great for the culture,
me personally too. Like I did not pay attention to any MMA until he got into the ring with Floyd Mayweather. Ever since then, it's been huge.
Really?
Dude. And it wasn't even that big. Like none of my friends watched it either. And like,
Ace, when did you get into the UFC? My dad and my uncle, my cousin, like I used to watch UFC like Tito Ortiz, Forrest Griffin, Anderson Silva.
Well, yeah, I would have watched that.
That was before Dana White, wasn't it?
I was watching back in sophomore year of high school, so probably like 2014.
That's when the fight was, wasn't it?
John 2014,
Jones. 2015.
Yeah, probably around then. Mac, he's not wrong. But I like John Jones. I was a big fan of him.
Yeah, John Bones Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he definitely grew MMA massively, along with Dana White, obviously. But I don't know when Dana White took over.
Brock Lesnar.
I just remember betting on Khabib when he'd beat him.
Like, I know these guys. I know who Brock Lesnar is. I just don't really remember watching
him. I just looked up UFC Fighters 2010. I just want to see how many of these guys I know.
Look up when Dana White
took Rockhold. I know some.
It's like trying to show me the video game people.
Oh, like the guys on the cover?
Yeah. Kimbo Slice.
Oh, Dana White's been there since 2001.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they bought him. He's been there, racking.
I didn't know that. Well,
he brought that shit from the ground. I used to love Tito Ortiz. He was my favorite.
It wasn't like this like 10 years ago, even like 8 years ago.
Dude, it used to be in like before the Vegas Gold Knights were a thing, and there was like a huge arena. They used to have their fights in like casinos.
They used to have them at the MGM Garden Arena and MGM Grand.
Holy shit!
I hate
It literally
doing
used to be like
Joe,
fight
but
night for gambling, Mackie.
They still do fights there, but
Yeah, the little guy, like the new guys go fight there. They put it on TV, but there's like the only people that are there, like there's like folding chairs, like there's not like actual seats. It's like a gym.
alrighty, let's move over to the NFL. The first point I have here is the Minnesota Vikings have released running back Dalvin Cook after 6 seasons with the team. Cook has been vocal about wanting to play for the Miami Dolphins this upcoming season. What do you guys got on this? Any good insights?
Wait,
I think the Dolphins are the. Go
I
ahead,
didn't
Mackie.
listen to that. I didn't listen. I was going to tell one of you guys to start.
I think the Dolphins are definitely the favorite to land him for both the reason that he wants to go there and Florida State guy. He's played at that arena or at that stadium before, scored touchdowns in that stadium before. I think, and obviously for all the reasons, everyone loves what Mike McDaniel's doing down there in Miami, adding guys on both sides of the ball. I think Dalvin Cook would love to slide right into that backfield down there and see what they can do and make some noise in the AFC. Obviously, a tough division, a tough conference in the AFC, but. They said, I believe, what was the other team that he's rumored to go to? Does anyone know? It was the Dolphins, and then there was another one.
I don't know.
Ace, did you know anything? I forget the other team that was going for Cook. I'm going to try to look it up. I meant to write it down.
I think the Dolphins are a great pick for him. He fits that scheme that they kind of go with pretty well.
The track stars.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could put it like that. But yeah, this team needs to load up. It definitely in a loaded AFC, especially a loaded AFC East. Ace, how do you feel about this? Obviously,
Broncos were the other one.
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins landing spot is much more realistic than the Broncos. I think you really give another year to a guy like Javonte Williams. I know Sean Payton and Russell Wilson want to win right now, but if I'm Dalvin Cook, I have my eyes set on South Beach in Miami. Like I said to Mackie earlier, the track stars there. It takes pressure off of Cook from being that guy. I know that he had Jefferson to do that a bit in Minnesota, and Thielen and other guys before him like Diggs. But really, Tua Tagovailoa, he can run that read option. He can run the ball. He swings out to his running backs a lot. We saw how successful that was in Miami last year. And this is one of the best teams in the division, in my opinion. I picked them to make the playoffs last year. They did. And I think that they have a chance to win this division, honestly, with McDaniels at the helm. Just give Tua another weapon. You got Ramsey on the other side. Just Tyreek, Waddle. Yeah, I just want to see
too.
Yeah, the speed on both sides of the ball is just going to be entertaining to see if he signs there.
The skill players on this team on both sides of the ball are just pretty insane. Nothing like we've ever seen before on both sides, at least. It's going to be. I couldn't really tell you much about their line, offense or defense. So, do you guys know anything about that?
Their defensive line, I know they've got Christian Wilkins there, right? They have some pieces, but nothing too special. I believe they might have Emmanuel Ogbah still. Have to pull up their depth chart. Maybe look into that as we get into the divisions in the upcoming weeks. But
we've seen teams like these that are star powered though, and then they get out there and the quarterback has 2.5 seconds to make a pass every single time. They're getting no defensive pressure on the quarterback. We've seen things like this not work out before. So star players are nice, skill players are great, but the line's really where I feel like you win football games.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Raekwon Davis is another one guy. We were forgetting Ace. Emmanuel Ogg, but Jalen Phillips, the guy that drafted.
I mean, like you said,
they have a good D-line.
Oh, yeah, Bradley Chubb, that trade. They brought him at the deadline last year.
They do have Bradley Chubb.
But still, the game's won in the trenches. Obviously, their O-line's not anything perfect, but let's not jump the gun and say Cook's going there just yet. It adds another wild card into the mix. We're already waiting on Zeke. We're already waiting on D-Hop. Now, when do we think Dalvin Cook's going to sign? I hope these guys just ink with a team soon, but it's getting crazy out there in the NFL right now.
I feel like everyone's waiting on D-Hop at this point.
Dude, Ace, if you're an NFL veteran, 6-7 years in the league, you know you're a starter on any team you're going to go to, like Dalvin Cook or DeAndre Hopkins, you're waiting until after training camp to take the $16 million.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And the same thing is, like, you got to find the best landing spot, too. See how everything shakes out.
There will be an injury in training camps, preseason.
Where do you want to live, too? Like, where you're going to probably ink a multi-year deal, I'd assume. So you got to figure out where you're going to relocate to as well. A lot of factors go into it. So I agree, but I'm just impatient. Like, come on, somebody sign somewhere. Do something.
As the fan, we want it now. But yeah, I'm definitely I as the player, I definitely see why they wait. It's to drive the supply and demand up. It's like, oh, now someone's hurt. Now you need a running back.
Who
you
signs
wanted
first?
to before.
Who
now
signs
you
first?
need
D-Hop, Zeke, or Cook?
I think Cook.
I think D-Hop.
I think D-Hop as well.
He's the most active, at least most public about
It's
it.
kind of like when KD was like, everyone's like, "Where's KD going?" Nobody's making trades. Nobody's doing anything until KD signed with the Sun or got traded to the Suns, and then all the players were tweeting like, "Finally, like now we can get moved and shit, and like things can happen."
Obviously, another point as we're going to get to in our NFL notes, but maybe they need someone like Dalvin Cook to reset that running back market. If he can get that bag, it might shake everything out for everybody else. You've seen a lot of grumblings from guys like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, who else out there? Zeke, Lenny, Cook. A lot of guys are still waiting to find teams. I saw a list of it the other day. They want to form like some running back union, huh? But
yeah, they want their own union.
Yeah, but I don't see that as a true option. I just think one guy needs to get paid kind of soon, fairly soon, and then it'll set the market for everybody else. But who's going to spend on a running back? Remember what we said.
Henry was their chance a couple years ago.
Remember what we said. You don't need a star, highly paid running back to win a Super Bowl. Look at the last few winners. But boy, would I take Dalvin Cook in my offense.
The Cleveland Browns have unveiled their new logo for the upcoming season. It is a bulldog, and the winning logo is option number 2 in the final round of the Browns fan vote and was created by Houston Mark, a designer who sought to create a logo that displayed the intensity and passion of the fan base while including several symbols that highlight the history of both the franchise and Cleveland. The logo will be predominantly displayed in future merchandise and other team use. So I haven't seen anything of that being on the jersey or like on the helmet, or anything like that, but
I don't think it's ever going to be on the helmet.
No.
I think they're always going to have the classic, ugly, just plain orange helmet.
right.
No, they have to keep that helmet. That's so iconic, but I could see it on a patch on a shoulder or something like that. Definitely coaches on the sidelines wrapping it for sure.
Like, is it going to be their new official logo instead of the orange helmet?
I think it's going to be the helmet.
I would agree.
It'll always be the helmet.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's like, especially with a lot of teams like you've seen the NFL open up the jersey requirements. I think that took effect last season, right? Or is it the last season? Yeah, a lot of teams going to their throwbacks. You could see the Browns institute this on some type of alternate, but I think it's really just going to be on gear, and sideline gear, fan gear.
I'm laughing at you said a designer who sought to create a logo that displayed the intensity and passion of the fan base. What about the football team? It's the logo for a football team. Why are we worried about what the fan base is representing?
I agree. I thought
because that fan base has been through a lot. They deserve it.
It's also you're playing for the fan base. That's where the money comes from, kind of.
They had an 0-16
right.
parade less than a decade ago.
I mean,
you got to keep your fans around somehow after having this much trauma. So you got to think of the fans.
Huff, you said it. I mean, if this is just going on merchandise, just aim it at the fans.
Yeah.
At least they're public about it.
The other thing is, though, you could see this on the field. The logo on the field would be pretty cool as well. Maybe, didn't they have the elf at center field last year?
Definitely
replace that.
Dude, Brownie the elf is classic.
Huff loves the elf. I think you're the only one.
Yeah, Huff's like, don't talk shit about that.
All I know is he's probably not mad because his bumblebees go running down that field and put up a bunch of points. Except for that one time in the playoffs more recently.
I was gonna say my recent history that I like to bring up is Antonio Brown kicking that fucking punter right in the face.
Ugh,
legendary.
Yeah, that was just. Was that before or after the Vontaze Burfict hit where he got CTE?
After.
That was before. That was when he was AB. He was untouchable at that point. He kicked it in the face. I don't even think he got thrown out of the game.
I just remember Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph too. That's a good one.
That was something. Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, those pesky Browns.
Oh, I was having this debate the other day. Now that we're just on the Browns real quick. I was having this debate the other day about the AFC North coming in the season. People love putting so much expectations on this team that never does anything. More so than the Jets. I guess I get the Jets hype because of Aaron Rodgers and whatnot. But like this Browns team, like what? I expect more out of Deshaun Watson. I know he'll be better with a full offseason, but they're going to be in the floor of that division no matter what. I think the Steelers are a solid team. People disrespected Kenny Pickett. I was having this debate literally last night. I'm not that high on him. You can pull my clips from last year saying I'd bet against him because of Kenny Pickett. but I think he's good enough, and that defense is so elite. Great coach. They're going to finish third in the division and push for a wild card spot. I think the Browns are going to be in the cellar, per usual. Pass funnel defense wide open, and Deshaun Watson is not even close to what he once was.
I agree.
It'll
Not
be
necessarily
interesting
about
to
the
see.
Steelers are getting third in the division, but the rest of it, yeah.
I don't necessarily.
That's a tough division. Two really good.
It's so hard. It's like everyone in the division goes 1-1 against each other.
I think the Browns.
Yeah, but I think this
I think
Browns
you
team
could-
might be worse than expected. I know that people have high expectations.
Yeah, except for us against the Browns, but everyone sweeps the Browns. Yeah, I don't think I have no faith in this Browns team, and that's not even being a biased Steelers fan. They still have guys like Garrett and like I don't know. They just
People like
Chubb.
the Zadarius Smith move, bring him off the edge. I don't. They had Jadeveon Clowney in that spot recent years
didn't
ago,
work.
and it didn't work. Their pass defense is terrible. I know they have JOK that they brought in the linebacker over the middle. He's pretty good, but this offense
like
is
him.
still stagnant. They have an old, aging Amari Cooper who's playing well, but he's aging. They don't have any other weapons on the outside. Donovan Peoples-Jones, yeah, he plays well, but he's nothing to worry about. And I know they have Nick Chubb, one of the best in the league, but they don't even use him the right way. I mean, Watson looked like a shell of himself last year, and they're going to need big improvement if they want to make any noise.
Who do you think has a
season.
better? Who do you think has a better bounce back year? Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. I like Sean
I
Not
Payton.
even
think-
close.
I think Deshaun. I don't. I think you guys are crazy for this. You don't think Deshaun's going to be good at all? I mean, yeah.
He gets to play the
You're coming in
Ravens,
with-
Bengals, and Steelers defense twice. That's not fun.
They're in the two hardest
Yeah, I
divisions.
mean-
Ross gets to play the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Raiders. I think
just
Russ has a
don't-
better chance.
I don't think Denver's that good. I don't think the team around. I think the Browns around Deshaun Watson is better than Denver around. Why, Ace? Why do you think the Browns are so bad?
No, well, I just think I've been hearing too much hype about them.
I guarantee you, they have a. I'll say they have a winning record this year. I think they have at least 9 wins.
Oh, I don't think so at all. And they fumbled the bag with
I think
better
there's a
teams.
scenario. I think there's a scenario where we could see every single team in the AFC North with a winning record.
No. I think it's a tight division, but I don't think it's as good as people think it is. They do have a light schedule this year. But going back to that Broncos
Why?
versus
Who-
Browns talk, I think that if I'm a quarterback, I would much rather have the Broncos supporting cast than the Browns.
I would too. Javonte Williams,
I-
Cortland Sutton,
Jerry
Tim
Jeudy.
Patrick, Jerry Jeudy.
okay.
KJ
What's-
Hamler, Alberto.
KJ. I mean, now you're just naming players, but
The
Wide-
Browns would
wide-
the
wide
Browns would
receiver-
kill.
Wide
have
receiver
him.
one against wide receiver one. You're taking Amari Cooper over Cortland Sutton. Nick Chubb
think?
over. Yeah,
I don't know.
100%.
Give me
No.
the give, but here, give me the give me the
numbers. Look
give me
at
the
numbers.
Broncos too over the Browns. Too.
Well, we're also forgetting who the Browns got. They have Elijah Moore. They brought him in. That was a good move. He still hasn't proven himself in the league too much yet, but he could be dynamic.
The
Browns have the
are
better
not
running
a
back.
bad team. You
Broncos
guys are
have the
really
better
over-
receivers.
Mac,
You're
take this
overlooking
back to
that.
your trenches talk from earlier. This is one thing that really got me about the Browns. Remember when they were supposed to win the Super Bowl that year after they made the playoffs or whatever, and like Baker was going to be hyped and they fell flat on his face? They had that O-line that was all world and they were all in the Pro Bowl. I think that O-line is so overrated. They played terrible last year, and that's so important. The D-line, besides Myles Garrett, he's the only one getting pressure. And guys like Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, and who's that safety there? Grant Delpit aren't living up to expectations, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where you can obviously look at it either way. I'm a little higher on this team than you are. I don't know. I just think they have a little more potential than you're giving them. I think Deshaun Watson's gonna have a really good season. He came into a team that was four or five games under 500 last year. Hasn't played a game in a year and a half, so it's tough to come into that situation. Another team that you don't even know, you've never played a game with. So you get some chemistry between those guys. Him and Amari Cooper could be a lethal duo. And I'm pretty much expecting them to be. And you have a stellar back in Nick Chubb. So
Yeah,
I
if you
think
give the
this
ball,
the offense can make noise, and that's what they did kind of last year. So you throw Deshaun Watson in that offense and give him some confidence, and I think that team could definitely win 9 games. I think they can definitely be a playoff team.
they give up way too many points on the other side of the ball, though, which kills them. If they can give the ball to Nick Chubb 30 to 35 times a game, they don't commit to that, which is insane to me. If you do that, they'd win so many more games, but they do not commit to Nick Chubb. Maybe releasing Kareem Hunt would help that, but I don't know. if you remember my talk about Russell Wilson, and I thought he played poorly because he doesn't train in the offseason anymore, and I think he's going to this year after a bad year last year. Like, was Deshaun Watson not even with like a personal coach or anything? Because what surprised me the most was his athleticism. Was his athleticism though? Like remember how fast he was on the Texans?
Yeah.
Did he lose that? Is it gonna come back?
His feet back. I mean,
you don't lose that though. What are you working on?
You got a 5-game sample size. I mean, I get it. It's 5 games, 5 weeks to get into shape, but it's tough. You never know like how it is for the player. He could be working his ass off this offseason, working with his teammates that he can actually get a full season in with this time. He's an athlete, and last we knew of him, he was a top 5 quarterback in the league. So I just wouldn't throw that out the door. He's not even.
Do you think he returns to form though? Do you think he returns to that form?
I think he can get close. I mean, the athleticism obviously declines after 3 years. At this point, it'll be almost 3 years by the time he gets back out there. You're not as athletic as you were 3 years ago, no matter how old you are. But I think he still has that in him, and I think the only problem with him is that he missed 2 years of maturity.
At his peak, though, even with I think a better Texans team, or at least very similar, because they had D-Hop was way younger than Amari Cooper, definitely better, but he had a good wide receiver, and then he had a good edge rusher on the defense, J.J. Watt, similar to Myles Garrett.
The Texans had a 24-0 lead against the Chiefs. That Texans team had a 24-0 lead in the AFC Championship game. So, or was that the game before the AFC Championship?
It was a wild card.
Yeah.
24-0 lead against a team that won the Super Bowl that year. So, they were good. They were, in my opinion, they were better than this Browns team is. Yeah, definitely. But that's saying a lot. That Houston team was definitely top caliber.
So yeah, I'm just saying he has to return to that form or better if they want to make any noise in the NFL. But it's going to be a big question mark. It's going to be a big question. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm expecting 9 wins. I'm not saying
they could contend
exactly
for the 7th seed.
I don't think that they're going to be contenders for anything after that, but I think that they can contend for a wild card spot.
I disagree, but it really just depends on Deshaun Watson. We'll have to monitor how he does in these preseason games.
Exactly. It's all about how he does.
Yeah, for sure.
Alrighty, let's jump forward to the MLB after we finished up there in the NFL. Let's go over our power rankings for this week. At number 5, we have the Texas Rangers. At number 4, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Number 3, the Baltimore Orioles. Number 2, the Atlanta Braves. And still sticking at number 1, the Tampa Bay Rays. Solid effort there for all those teams coming into this week. What do we see happening this week, boys, going into our next power ranking?
Just these Braves and Diamondbacks don't seem to lose. Braves are on fire. Just won a doubleheader today. Diamondbacks kind of got spanked last night, but they've definitely, I think they're 8-2 in their last 10. They're on fire, best team in the NL right now. So, the top, it's very top heavy. Top 5 teams I think are pretty self-explanatory, and after that you obviously have like Astros, Yankees, Dodgers sitting right outside. But I don't think either of them have even a case to be in the top 5.
I think this is a pivotal series here for the Phillies and Diamondbacks. Not for the Diamondbacks. They just need to get out of this one. They played like weird baseball. But this could be a turning point in the Phillies season where they really start to turn it up and be that team they're supposed to be. Feel good about beating one of the first place teams in the league at the current. But yeah, great to see the D-backs there. Orioles and Rays leading in that tough AL East, so you got to give them the nod. Yankees right there with them too. I'm excited to see these Marlins. I hope they can keep pushing along. My boy Yuri Perez is going to get sent down, sadly, as that inning limit restriction comes along for him, the 20-year-old down in South Florida. But they're getting Trevor Rogers back, so they'll be good. Dodgers, they could bounce back up as well. So a lot of good baseball teams going on. Huff, I don't know what you think about these rankings.
I love this Baltimore team. I really like it. It's a team that I look at their odds every single time they're playing. They've been underdogs still consistently in most of their games, and not as much at home lately, but a lot of these road games, they're underdogs, and they're picking up wins on the road. They've been on fire lately. That's a team I've been riding. And then you said it, the Braves and obviously the Rays up there at 1. They've been there since we started releasing these. And the Diamondbacks pretty much the surprise of the season so far. We've seen what Corbin Carroll's done for them, and Texas Rangers a little bit slipping, and obviously we know what happened with DeGrom getting the season-ending Tommy John surgery. We talked about that, so that's going to affect them a little bit going down the road. But I feel like they still have a really good lineup to stick around and get them their wins that they need. But yeah, this Baltimore team, that's one team I've been riding, and they're really fun to watch. But like you said, the Astros, Yankees, Dodgers, all sitting right outside there, and they're all teams that'll be there in October, or you know what I mean, September, October.
Yeah, those are the contenders, those three you just mentioned, and I'm eager to see which between the Rangers and Diamondbacks are pretenders. But that a long season ahead of us, and we'll see who hangs around by that All-Star break, because that's when you can see moves that really push a team to get to that final run, kind of like the Royals did a few years ago. Even if you're a pretender or whatnot, you can really catch fire. So pivotal month here before this All-Star break coming up for a lot of these teams.
Good stuff, boys. Yeah, every week we release those power rankings on Instagram and Twitter, so make sure you check those out each week. Going back to Pittsburgh Pirates legend Andrew McCutchen earned his 2000th career hit on Sunday in a matchup against Mackey's New York Mets. So a great accomplishment there for Andrew McCutchen, number 22. 2,000 hits for the boy. Anything to say, Huff?
He got his first hit against the Mets too, which is pretty cool. They got his
I was going to say,
cool.
They showed the video from the first to the 2000th, and they were both against the Mets. I thought that was pretty cool, but definitely my favorite Pirate of my lifetime, Andrew McCutchen. See him get 2,000 hits, come back here, and sitting here, June 14th? If you would have told me he'd have his 2,000th hit and the Pirates would be 34-31 and in first place in the division, I'd say you're crazy. So I'll take my chances with where we go the rest of the season. I said it a couple of weeks ago when they started to slip, and now they've kind of caught a little bit of fire, winning a couple series in a row. They lost one to Oakland. They lost 2 out of 3 to Oakland, but then Oakland went up to Milwaukee and swept them, part of this win streak that they're on. So Pirates have maintained with a little bit of help from the rest of the division, losing some games, but McCutchen's having a great year so far, leading off, playing DH. So I'm excited to see what he's able to do with this really young team when they get Cruz back, and if we're still in a playoff spot. I really like what this team's going to be able to do.
Yeah, I like McCutchen. I've always liked him.
I even rooted for him when he left. When he was a Philly, Giants. I think those are the only other 2 teams he played for, correct?
Milwaukee,
yeah.
I know him. I think I know him the most in Milwaukee.
Don't say that.
Well, no, other than Pirates is what I'm saying. Obviously, I think of the Pirates when I think of McCutchen, but like other than Pirates, I definitely think of the Brewers.
Really? Yeah, I guess he did spend like 2 or 3 years there. That's where he came.
Giants.
That's where he
I definitely think Pirates. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, obviously Pirates, but like, who was the other team you said?
Was
Giants
he on
and
the Phillies
Phillies.
and Giants? Yeah.
Phillies.
He went from he started with the
Pirates.
Pirates, and then he went to San Francisco for I think a year or 2, and then he got traded to the Phillies, and then he went to Milwaukee, and now he's back with us.
I don't really remember him being in Philly.
He was hurt.
I remember him in San Fran though.
Lots of good stuff there for Andrew McCutchen. Yeah, let's hope these Pirates can stay in gear and keep pushing along. Hopefully make it to the playoffs this year. I'm really hoping for it. Alrighty, next point. Earlier this week, JT Realmuto hit for the cycle versus the Diamondbacks. He's the first Philly to do so since David Bell in 2004. Great accomplishment there. Any comments on that one, boys?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably one of the top catchers in the league. Having a rough year, I think you can go ahead and put a couple guys ahead of him like Adley Rutschman and Sean Murphy, but he's still one of the better catchers in the league. That's why the Phillies paid him from the Marlins. And like I said before, I think the Phillies are going to start turning a corner. Too good of a team to be playing the way they are. And maybe this will spark him and the rest of the boys.
Good stuff. And our final point in the MLB, we have the All-Star Game approaching just under 1 month away. July 16th, that game will be played. The current All-Star Game leaders are Shohei Ohtani for the American League and Ronald Acuna Jr. for the National League. Curious to hear, you guys got any good comments on what is coming into this All-Star Game? Some players just picking it up, and who do we want to see there, and what do you guys think?
Not much. Just All-Star Weekend's obviously a good time. It's fun to see the Home Run Derby. I really don't usually watch the actual All-Star Game. just really watch the home run derby. But it's a good time, fun to watch. Obviously, Shohei ahead of the list right there. Him being a dual threat obviously escalates him a little more than everybody else, but well deserving.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the stat the other day after his 2 home run night the other day for the Angels. He's up to over 100 Ks on the mound and over 20 home runs at the plate. That's pretty insane if you ask me. Got to be odds-on favorite for sure.
Top 5 in both.
Yeah, like he's just a stud. He does it night in and night out. These other pitchers require so much rest. Meanwhile, he's out there grinding at bats and hitting dingers, leading the AL now too.
Do you think that they're like they need the rest? Do you think they're just like 4 days off, back at it again?
Well, if you just see the pitchers, even from a young age, they're pretty pampered. Those POs, they're used to their strict schedules. But you see all the arm injuries, guys like DeGrom and Sale. If you don't take care of it the right way, then you might end up where at your old age. But on the other side of the league, Ronald Acuna Jr. is having a career year. I mean, he's the best player in the league by far. Hit another home run today in Game 2 of the doubleheader. But that guy's a stud, and that Braves team's really good. Mac, he's repping the hat right now. But I talk about this a lot in our primetime posts when I put him there. But he's got a lot of protection in the lineup, Ronald Acuna Jr. You can't just stay away from him because you have good bats right behind him as well. He's just been dynamite, stealing bases in the field, hitting bombs, just the life of the whole team. He changed the culture ever since he came along. A lot of other guys that are deserving, though. As we get closer, I know we'll take a look at some of these brackets and lineups and how they're hanging out. But happy to see this. I'm a big All-Star Game fan. I watch all of it.
Alrighty, for this week's segment, we're going to do a start bench cut with some future bets that we're going to present to each other. We're going to start it off. Huff, I think, is going to ask Mackie to get us going.
Yeah, and these are no specific, not necessarily anything I like or Mackie likes, just trying to present 3 things and trying to see which way he would go. I know one of them is one of his teams, so I think maybe going to have a little bit of bias there, but he's a realistic fan, so we'll have to see. So the first one, Mackie, obviously, I'll tell you all 3, and then you make your decision. So I have the Rays to win the AL at plus 240, the Bengals to win the Super Bowl at plus 1,000, or Dallas Cowboys to win the NFC East at plus 175.
Ooh.
I wanted to give you one long odds.
All right, so I'm gonna have to cut the Rays just because, baseball is so streaky. Anybody can go on a streak, and it's a 162 game season. I don't want to overreact with them. It'll be 65, 70 games into the season, so I gotta cut that one. I'm gonna sit the Dallas Cowboys at plus 175 to win the division. So there is a curse in the NFC East that you can't win back to back, and obviously it's got to be between Dallas and the Eagles this year. But the Eagles are so good, and I'll say this to anybody. I tell Beal all the time, the Eagles are good, dude. They're a top 4, top 5 team in the league, and Dallas just isn't. I think they kind of dropped off a little from last year, so obviously love my boys, but no, I'm gonna bench them, and then I'm gonna start Bengals to win the Super Bowl just because, dude, Joey Burrow can go out there and go on a playoff run whenever he wants, and that team is built for it. They've been there before. They know what they're dealing with, and the odds on plus 1,000. You gotta love it. You
probably could find 1,100 or maybe a little better, maybe a little worse. Who knows on all of these?
I mean, it's a tough AFC to get through. Obviously, a tough path, but dude, Joey Burrow is good, and you want one of the best quarterbacks in the league, top 2 in my opinion, to get you there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how I would have done that.
All right, Ace. 76ers to win the Eastern Conference at plus 600. Yankees to win the division at plus 550. And what was my other one?
Probably the Bills.
It was NFL. Fuck, what was it? I think it had something to do with the Patriots. Oh yeah, Pats to win the division at plus 800. So we got Yankees plus...
I already know. This is an easy answer for me. I'll go right off the rip
He's
for
like,
you.
I know what you said.
I'll go Yankees to win the division. I was looking at that myself. I don't know if they can catch the Rays because they're on fire, but I like that value for a good team. Second one, I'm going to bench the Patriots to win the division at plus 800, and I'm going to cut the 76ers to win the East at plus 600. Not too big on that team at all. I think there's a lot better teams in the Eastern Conference. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics you always have to worry about, and then there's a lot of other teams that are coming up as well. But yeah, the Patriots, great value too to put on the bench, plus 800 in a NFC East that has a lot of question marks. I mean, Rodgers in his first year, Tua, can he stay healthy? And the Bills, Stephon Diggs drama and the heartbreak that teams just do. I think I've talked about the demise of that one going as well. But I think the Yankees got to have the best spot there. Start them for sure. You said plus 550. That's crazy. It's only June. I mean, how many games are they realistically back? We got to assume that these Rays cool off a bit. Yeah, we have to assume these Rays cool off a bit. And we have those Yankees creeping up our leaderboard week in and week out. So I could see that definitely happening. But some good odds nonetheless. I like those picks, Mackie. So for Jesse, I got 3 right here. They're all at plus odds. Some a bit safer than others. So I'm eager to see. This one's tough too because you're a Steelers fan. But I still like this. So we'll go with the Ravens to win the division at plus 275. We'll go with Shohei Ohtani to lead the MLB in home runs at plus 350. And we will go with the Houston Astros to win the American League West at plus 100.
What's Shohei at right now? How many home runs?
I think it's like 21 or 22.
Yeah, I think you said.
Is he in the lead?
In the AL.
Yeah, he is. Because Judge and Alonso are right there, but they're both injured.
Dude, I might take that.
Yeah, it's a good odds.
But go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, I like that one. I'm going to start Ohtani to lead in home runs at the end of the season. And then
there's good value on both of those too. Mackie's like, I could bet those.
I'm cutting the Ravens. I don't know.
That's
They're going to be good,
biased.
but they're going to be good, but I don't know. Like, are they going to? You said win the division, correct?
Correct.
Oh,
What were the odds? Plus 275.
What was the other one?
The Astros to win their
and then-
division in baseball, the AL West at plus 100.
and I don't hate that either. I mean, there's some value there for sure. Oh,
Yeah, yours is hard.
that's tough. Those last two get me because yes, the Ravens are going to be pretty darn good. I think they're going to be all right this
Jesse,
season, right? But like,
The Bengals are plus 100 to win division.
I low-key want higher odds on the
Wow.
Ravens personally. I want 3
Jesse,
to 1 or higher.
I think I would go same as you, to be honest.
I would do that just because I'd want a little more juice on the Ravens. I'd want like 325 or higher.
Shop
Yeah,
that
it's
one
too,
around.
Too tough of a division.
Ace, that was good. That was really, really good.
I got you.
All right, I
was
went
drawing all those.
I went a little different with mine, in my opinion. But you ready, Huff?
Yeah.
Browns under 9.5 wins. Vegas to win the Cup next year plus 1,300, same as it was when we were looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Broncos over 8.5 wins.
See, the Browns total set at 9.5. That's what I'm telling you guys.
Mackie, you did say 9 wins.
I'm gonna start the Browns under 9.5. I like it's tough division. We just said that. I'll start that 9.5. I like that. Is the under? Did you see the odds on that? Is the under favored?
The under is favored. It's 125.
Yeah, I felt like it would be. I'd take the under on that. I'll bench the Knights to repeat. It's tough in the NHL, but you get like kind of like what Mackie said with the Bengals on the Super Bowl when you can get a team that good. And I know the West isn't really the dominant series or the dominant conference in the NHL. I definitely feel like Vegas could add a couple pieces, and once they figure out their goaltender situation with these 4 different goaltenders that they played in the playoffs, or 3, and then they had the 4th one ready to go. I definitely could see Vegas there at the end of the season next year. And then as much as I love Russ, I am gonna cut the Broncos over 8.5 wins. I just feel like it's a tough division when you're playing Pat Mahomes twice a year, when you're playing Herbert twice a year, when you're playing. I know this we don't really know what's going on with Vegas, but still a tough division and kind of a new look Broncos team with Sean Payton. I'd probably sit the Broncos over 8.5 wins.
I think the only right
Or
answer
cut
there
it,
is
cut it. Sorry.
I think the only right answer there is to start Browns under 9.5, just with the value there. But that's good. That was a good. Those are three.
Huff,
good picks.
if your boy Ross doesn't get over 8.5 wins this year, is he done?
I'd probably bench Denver over 8.5.
I was
wins
thinking that too, but 13-1, like kind of the thing I said, like the West isn't, you know what I mean? Like they're definitely the favorite to come out of the West next year again.
It's so hard to. I mean, you have the Avalanche who are going to step back up. You have the Oilers.
Chicago's getting
Flames probably be
bedarded.
good again. I think Chicago's got a few years, but I just don't think it's so hard to two-peat in.
I feel like
in the NHL.
you'd be able to get better odds at some point on Vegas,
Yeah, for sure.
even like
For sure.
16-1.
Yeah, this is a day after the Cup, you know. Definitely got to wait for some off-season moves and things like that. But I think that's all we got for this episode 42 here in the books. Lots of good stuff to look
92
forward to.
How many episodes did we have last season? 50 something? We're coming up on 100 here, boys.
Overall,
We'll be well in the NFL season when we hit the century mark.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Stay tuned for the plays. It's going to be all baseball from here on out. Maybe a little bit of golf, UFC stuff mixed in. We'll try that with no NHL and NBA as we see value on the stuff. I know we get the U.S. Open this weekend.
Scotty Scheffler plus 650.
But
Drop the play right now,
you're going Scotty?
dude. How can you not? He's the best golfer in the world and probably the hardest course in the world.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you see these conditions? It's absolutely insane. There's a 290-yard par 3.
Par 3, yeah.
that's crazy. I did see that. And the roughs are like 5 inches long or
The
something.
rough. See, like if we were to play that course, we would lose 45 balls because you hit a ball into the rough and you're not finding it.
You're exactly right.
But that's going to do it from me.
Alrighty. That's all for us.
Out.
And that's going to do it for us on this episode of Hit the Books. Thank you to everyone who tunes in each and every week. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here. So please like, share, and subscribe wherever you can. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for our plays each and every night in the NHL, NFL, MLB, NBA, college basketball, and college football. Thank you again, and see you next week.